Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, voice you know with the news you trust studio. Sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Elvivo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. I am Allison Kinney. Now let's take a look at what's making agricultural news. The Trump administration announced a series of trade deals and frameworks with several Asian countries, some of which include new market access for U.S. ethanol. The deals also include additional opportunities for corn and corn products like distillers' dried grain with solubles. National Corn Growers Association President Jed Bowers said that this is good news for corn growers. Eliminating tariffs on ethanol exports to Malaysia and Cambodia will boost demand, he said. The announced frameworks with Thailand and Vietnam also hold promise. Meantime, the American Soybean Association applauded reports of progress in U.S. negotiation with China. ASA is encouraged by Treasury Secretary Benson's comments on productive trade talks with China, said President Caleb Ragland. Signs of purchase commitments are positive steps, and we look forward to learning more details about the possibilities later this week. ASA hopes negotiators keep American soybeans at the center of trade discussions. Along with the signed trade deals with Malaysia and Cambodia, the Malaysian portion having an enormous economic potential for America's pork producers. We're grateful to the president for increasing market access for U.S. pork to Malaysia, a country that's been importing pork despite limited plants being eligible for export, said NPPC President Dwayne Statler. More than 25% of U.S. pork production gets exported, so producers count on exports to help keep their farms afloat, especially in times of uncertainty. The deal with Malaysia will open access to all U.S. facilities included in the Food Safety and Inspection Service Meat, Poultry, and Egg Inspection Directory. Pork exports to Malaysia hit record levels of over $24.5 million in 2024, a significant amount given that only 8% of U.S. plants are currently eligible for export. Exports to Malaysia have increased by over 1,700% in the last 5 years.
Get the equipment and trucks you need at the Ritchie Brothers' next Great Lakes Regional event on November 12th and 13th. This absolute unreserved auction will feature online bidding, and items are located in Columbus, Chicago, and Detroit. Choose from close to 3,000 items, including a wide selection of construction equipment, semi-trucks, and more. Don't miss Ritchie Brothers' Great Lakes Regional event on November 12th and 13th. For more details, visit rbauction.com. Again, that's rbauction.com.
Now let's take it over to Dusty as he discusses Acuron herbicide.
I'm visiting today with Chad Thriewitz, and Chad is an agronomic service representative with Syngenta. We look at the 2026 crop year coming up. How should growers be thinking about weed control strategies, especially as it relates to fertilizer investment?
Input costs are up in many areas, especially fertilizer. And I think sometimes there's a tendency because of that growers may try to cut costs in other places, especially maybe in that crop protection expense and specifically herbicides. However, we've seen that, really those prerequisites for maximizing yield start with that good base fertility and then the clean weed-free fields before we can really start pushing that envelope in other areas. Why fertilizer prices may be down from a couple years ago at the peak, they're still relatively high compared to crop prices. So it's a strong investment that we've got to make in the crop really before we get started. And by eliminating those early season weed competition, we can help growers protect their fertilizer investment because, weeds do rob nutrients along with competing with our corn crop. Some research has been done that even 2 to 4 inch weeds, based on today's prices, there's up to a $20 an acre loss for growers when it comes to what those take up as far as nutrients.
As far as recommendations go, what products would you say would be good to manage some of those fertilizer robbing weeds?
One of the ones that we recommend is Acuron herbicide. Some of those benefits that we get with that product, when we think about just starting clean and staying clean. Acuron herbicide, applied pre-emerge, we can get strong residual on large seeded broadleaves like ragweed, cocklebur, morning glory, those that really can rob yield. Also good on water hemp.
Chad, real quick, if growers want to learn more, where can they go for more information?
Growers can talk to their local Syngenta retailer or visit acuron-herbicide.com.
That was Dusty Sonnenberg chatting with Chad Thriewitz. Now let's take a quick look back into some more trade news. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said he expects that China won't impose export controls on rare earth mineral exports and the U.S. won't impose 100% tariffs on China. During a separate interviews over the weekend, Bessent said trade negotiations with China have gone very well. The talks were in anticipation of President Donald Trump's meeting with Chinese Premier Xi Jinping this week. President Trump gave me maximum leverage when he threatened 100% tariffs if the Chinese put their export controls on rare earth minerals in place, Bessent said, because that's likely been averted on substantial agricultural purchases for America's farmers, Bessent added. Now let's take a look at the markets. Brought to you by Seed Consultants, simply better performance. Learn more online at seedconsultants.com. December corn closing in today up 3 1/4 at $4.32. March corn up 1 3/4 at $4.46. May corn up 1 1/4 at $4.55. November soybeans are up 11 at $10.78 1/4. January soybeans up 10 1/4 at $10.95 1/2. December wheat is up 3 at $5.29. July wheat is up 4 3/4 at $5.69 1/4. And October live cattle are down 132 at $227.50. Thanks for joining us. You're listening to the Ohio AgNet.